Sedate and boring, those were the two words used most often to describe this pitch in Melbourne, but that has completely changed. The test match has come alive. For all you know, you might just have a result by day 4. That's the scorecard for you at the moment. Australia all out for 151 in their first innings. Now India in their second innings, 54 for 5, a lead of 346 runs. The star of the day, of course, that man, Jasprit Bumrah, with 6 wickets, giving away just 33 runs. You're watching ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, which is brought to you by Maruti Suzuki. With me, Sanjay Manjrekar, VVS Laxman. Brad Hodge joins us live from Australia. As always, these are those 5 points that you have to give, 5 very important things that happen in this day, and from 1 to 10 is your scoring. For the uninitiated, like Sanjay, who has in India, we'll start with India's second innings batting.
India's second innings batting. It's interesting that the numbers that you see with a lot of our star batsmen, second innings pale in comparison with the first, so that has something to do with it. Modern players also, I feel when the pitch gets a little slower, they invest a lot of energy and commitment in the first and not able to quite produce the kind of numbers that they produce in the first. So that was seen in the way.
You have to rank them from 1 to 10. How many points would you
it's the
give
first
them?
time I'm doing this.
Yes.
So India's batting in the second innings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's clear. I mean, it won't get too many high marks there, but considering it's a fourth inning, maybe 5.
5. Generous. 3. Yeah. Okay, Brad?
Okay, that was
3.
I gave such an elongated answer to everything. Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brad, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 3. 3 as well.
3, okay. VVS and you agree on that. Okay. Jadeja's bowling performance, Sanjay?
Right selection. Oh, again, number. Yeah, 6. Could have been better, 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A harsh man, okay.
I would go 8.
8. Okay, Brad?
Yeah, I think 7.5.
Okay. Kohli's captaincy?
7.
I would say 9.
9, yes. He came out with some plans today. Okay, Brad?
Yeah, I'd say about an 8.
All right. The MCG pitch after day 3?
8.
Today, I'll also go 8.
8. Okay. Brad, I remember you saying we'll have to wait till the test match gets over and that's when you can actually give the points. Okay, your points for the pitch?
10.
10. He's been
Hey, Victorian.
Yeah, he's a Victorian talking. Okay, the final one here is not the points, but you have to choose either or. Would you go with Bumrah today or Cummins?
I think Bumrah.
Bumrah.
Brad?
Bumrah was outstanding. Unbelievable.
Okay, 6 for 33. No surprise there. Everyone's picked Jasprit Bumrah. Okay, I'll start with now the lead that India find themselves at, 346. Now, of course, plenty of discussion with the way they performed in the second innings, but you'd say 346 already enough, would you?
Yes, already enough, especially nowadays in the final innings on a pitch that is getting lower and slower and a bit dusty as well. Cracks plenty of runs on the board, and especially with this kind of Australian batting lineup.
Now, I understand that at the moment, follow-ons probably have gone out of fashion, but what do you, I'm just going back to the discussion we had. Because India had bowled, about 66 overs, you really didn't need to give the bowlers that much rest. What you have now, 54 for 5, which Australia is probably could have been
No, I think you won't think in that fashion. No one expected India to be 50 for 5. And they've got good quality batsmen. They've done well in the first innings on the same wicket. And out of the 5 dismissals, I think 3 were of deliveries which didn't deserve a wicket. I'm not saying that the plan was well executed by Pat Cummins and the Australians, especially to Virat and Pujara. But no one expected that India would be in this situation in the second innings. And I think it was enough, it will also give enough time for the bowlers to recover, because you don't know how Australia will approach the second innings as well. So I think it was the right decision not to enforce follow-on.
The reason I asked that question, because rain is predicted for the next 2 days. For all you know, it could have been Australia 54 for 5 at the moment.
Yeah, but you can't be making critical match decisions based on weather. Because weather forecasts are forecast. It actually doesn't happen every time the way it's predicted. So I can understand India not enforcing the follow, and I still maintain the point that I made earlier. India are how many down for how much?
They're
54 for
54 for 5.
Fives.
Yeah.
So 54 for 5. So they would have got these runs much easily in the first innings and spared themselves all this, trauma that they're facing in the second.
Right, he's made his point. He made
Again.
it at that time again. Okay, Brad, coming to you, the point that VVS makes, and we're talking about Cummins bowling. Some of those shots, of course, he's been bowling well, but some of those shots actually gave him that wicket.
Yeah, look, I think it's just it was pot luck, really. You don't expect to play a nice leg glance and get caught down the leg side. It's there was a couple of dismissals, which was just probably a third innings, just execution, bit of random supply to leg gully. Marcus Harris holds on to him, but I think he'd probably play that shot 10,000 times and score runs, 10,000 runs off it. So, no, I don't think they'll attack that area ever again. Just one of them things where it was a plan that worked, and Paddy Cummins deserved him. He's worked pretty tirelessly for his team.
Oh yeah, he's been the standout bowler for Australia. But looking at where India are at the moment, 54 for 5, just puts into perspective Mayank Agarwal. He's still batting
fantastic.
strong. He's taken like fish takes to water to international.
Absolutely, and credit to him, because for someone who's just come to Australia, didn't even have a practice match, just 3 practice sessions. It's never easy. It's never easy for even an experienced player. They want to have time to get acclimatized to the conditions, to the weather. But the way he batted in the first innings, not overawed by the big situation he was in. And in the second innings, when the wickets were tumbling around him, it didn't look uncomfortable. And I not only say this because of the score he's at, but the position he was getting into playing the balls, covering the line, coming behind the line of the ball and not feeling restless or not even panicking, and that's really good news, because that's what you want, especially from a youngster who's opening the innings in overseas conditions. It's not only about the technique, it's not about the skill, but the way he approaches his batting, which was really good to see.
And also instinctively has the ability to score runs.
Yeah.
Defending is one thing, but the moment the ball is pitched up in his half, he drives instinctively, gets runs. So he's somebody who will not get bogged down. And we have the examples of Hanuma Vihari and Pujaras, of course, now getting runs with that kind of grit. But if you have something like this, like Prithvi Shaw showed in the couple of test matches that he played, that every time the ball is there to score, he scores. So this is a guy, if he can make his defense really solid, runs will keep coming. He'll be a hard batsman to control, and that is always a gift for any side.
Yeah, plenty was spoken about, him being a nervous sort of a batsman, but it couldn't have been easy for him to see 10 Australian wickets falling, and then him batting, of course, Indian batsman falling while he's on the other end of the crease.
It actually, makes you feel good as a batsman. As a young player, when you see other batsmen collapsing, you feel like, wow, I've got nothing to lose here. Here's my chance to become a hero. I know VVS has played a lot of innings when there have been collapses and everything's hinged on him. And it puts you in a space where you feel, almost like you've got this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't think you feel the pressure. I actually feel pressure when there is a lot of score put on and you're expected to get runs. Here is where Mayank Agarwal will walk out feeling that everything hinges on me, and he's already got 20 runs on the board.
Yeah.
I don't know what VVS, but I always mention about VVS that when India was in discomfort, he found himself in a comfort zone. So temperamentally it suits some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is some the operative word here? For some, it may suit to take that
I
opportunity.
think
and
it's all
take
about
it.
how you approach the situation, and hearing him talk to KL Rahul yesterday after the match, it was very clear that he was not over anxious. As Brad himself mentioned, that working with him at Kings 11 Punjab, he told that he's a very nervy character, very nervous, very tentative. But when you're pushed to the corner, and when you have a positive outlook to that situation you're in, it will actually benefit you, because you know that everything is stacked against you. So how you approach that particular situation is very, very important. So it's very clear that Mayank Agarwal is relishing this challenge and really relishing this opportunity. So the positive outlook he showed in the first innings will enhance his confidence level. So he's not even thinking about what's happening at the other end. He's just confident and happy and pleased that he's got an opportunity in his first test to contribute something to Team India.
And recent form as well.
Recent,
he's
and that's
got
so
70
important.
in the first innings, and break at the right time at the international level. He's got this truckload of runs at the first class level. That's when you want to get a break into the Indian team. It's not been ideal. No warm-up games, no practice matches. It's tough for a young top order batsman to succeed. but he's done well. So.
But not many regard the Indian first-class runs very, very highly. Yet he's proving them very wrong at the moment with his performances. Okay, since we're talking about Mayank Agarwal, getting plenty of questions on YouTube and Facebook. This is from Facebook. Sameer wants to know, how's that a batsman who just flew in is able to hang in better in second innings than players who have played over 2 tests? Sanjay?
See, the thing about people who have played more matches or more test matches like Ajinkya Rahane, Rohit Sharma, it is about your current state of mind and body. Ajinkya Rahane is still, not the Ajinkya Rahane of 2 years back. Rohit Sharma got a 70 or 60 not out in the first inning. But their form is not the greatest. So sometimes a young player with no baggage, clean slate comes in and just sort of plays pure cricket without any demons in his head. So to answer his question, I think that could be the reason. Prithvi Shaw also, when he batted in the 2 test matches against West Indies, looked better than the senior batsman because he was there. Fresh sort of head coming in and just reacting to ball. While the other more experienced people like KL Rahul or an Ajinkya Sharma were thinking about all the recent setbacks, the baggage that they carry with them. So Mayank Agarwal at the moment has got no baggage, just a little handbag on board.
Yeah, he wouldn't have carried a very heavy baggage as well. He was only coming there for the 2 test matches, came at the last moment. Okay, plenty more questions. We'll take a few more coming. This one is from YouTube and we've got Parag wanting to know, what according to you is the reason behind Indian batting failure in the second innings more often than the fourth? Is it just confidence, approach and mentality or lack of enough practice?
No, I think nothing to do with practice, also nothing to do with the confidence. We mentioned this, that it's not only about this innings, but overall I think international batsmen just lost trust in defensive technique. It's because of the attacking nature of the modern day generation, especially growing up, watching a lot of T20, a lot of one day. So they want to be successful in white ball cricket. So when you're growing up in that fashion, then defensive technique will be hampered. But having said that, out of these 5 wickets, I think 3 were almost a gift to the Australian bowler or to the Australian team. Except for Vihari and Rohit Sharma, none of the other deliveries, deserved a wicket. No disregard to Pat Cummins, but it didn't deserve a wicket. It's not typical 4th innings or the 3rd innings dismissal where something is happening from the wicket, or it's because of lack of technique or lack of positive approach. It's just bad luck is what I would say.
But why do we see this historically as well, that you have a lot of top class batsmen averaging, very impressively in the first inning, not as much in the second? Obviously, with some class players, you can't say defense or the game, but they have lower second inning numbers. Virendra Sehwag being one of the prime example. Could it also be intensity going down after a lot is invested in the first innings? If it gets a score, to come back and have the same kind of mental fortitude and reserves to come and battle again? Could that be
so
the
not
thing?
sure, because when you're playing at the highest level and you're playing for your country, and every time you walk out to play the game, either as a bowler or as a batsman, you have to be 100% committed to that
you
role.
Want to be, but is it possible that it could have been
Can be a reason, but I'm not sure. I mean, you can't generalize that. But as Sanjay mentioned, we've also talked about Virat Kohli's numbers in the last test match. So there's a huge difference in 2018 in the first innings compared to the second innings.
Also pitch conditions rather bad. I mean, very, very tough for a batsman.
Yeah, that is why I think Vivius mentions defense being even more important in the second innings, because then pitch is becoming tricky, and if you don't have a sound defense, it can be broken.
Okay, I'm just going to take a question that Kanishka has sent us on YouTube. He wants to know, has the trend change of not giving follow on because of the man sitting on your left? He's ensured that no one
may have been the turning point. One of the most memorable games and one of the best innings that I've seen. So yes, maybe that could have be the case. But now I think there is more, because there is excessive cricket. Everybody is worried about the fitness of players and the bowlers. There is a lot of focus on rehabilitation, giving them enough rest, and it is a societal thing as well. We are all better protected now. Nobody throws us in the deep end anymore. All of us are taken care of better. So maybe that is the reason why nobody wants to overload the fast bowlers, because what they bowled 60 overs in the first inning, they could have. If asked to do, they would have done it, but might as well give them rest.
Okay, if you can afford to. And as we are talking, India probably already have got enough runs on the board to enforce that they win a match. Let's talk about the star for Australia. As we were talking about Jasprit Bumrah being the star for India, Cummins is the one who's done the maximum damage, and he's been their best bowler, if I'm just looking at those stats, as far as Australia is concerned in this calendar year, he's been outstanding for them. I go across to Brad. Brad, I mean, you know, much was expected out of Mitchell Starc. He was sort of the leader of the pack, but it's actually Cummins that's emerged as their number one strike bowler.
Yeah, well, he has. He's been outstanding, Patrick Cummins, and I don't know where Australia would be without him this summer. I think that the one thing that's pointed out is both teams' bowling units are outstanding units, and it was always going to be both batting groups have been challenged. And we've seen, you know, Bumrah stand up for the Indian team in the morning. Now Patrick Cummins. Tomorrow it could be Mitchell Starc. Later in the day it could be Ishant Sharma. So the quality that's on offer is outstanding, and the level of bowling just keeps to press and press and press, and it's pretty impressive, I must say. And Patrick Cummins was outstanding.
All right, those are the numbers that we were talking about. Most wickets for Australian fast bowlers in test matches in 2018. He is head and shoulders above the rest of them with 42 wickets, having played 8 matches. And look at that average there of 20.52. Would have loved to know the strike rate as well. Yeah, but Sanjay, you wanted to make
the interesting thing is actually Patrick Cummins has also troubled Virat Kohli the most amongst all Australian pace bowlers. So that's one aspect. I want to go across to Brad Hodge and ask him about Josh Hazlewood, Brad, you know, because he's a class act. Economical, bowls in the channel outside the awesome, gets you the wickets, hasn't quite delivered as much. Your observations on how he's bowled and whether he's disappointed you by his returns, Brad?
I mean, I guess you'd think that he'd have more wickets, but I think there's a guy named Cheteshwar Pujara who's played Josh Hazlewood outstandingly well, and he hasn't exposed too many people to the quality of which he's bowled. It's only been that whether he's been able to take the quality of Hazlewood out with the new ball, and he hasn't been able to get on a roll. So I think that's important. And I think that Patrick Cummins has been the workhorse in the middle, which is, you know, he's been aggressive. I watched Josh Hazlewood later on today, and his bounce is quick. Just hasn't got enough out of the wicket, whether he can't adapt to bowling wide, to channeling the stumps, particularly on this surface. That might be something which, you know, may be questionable, and he probably needs to do that a little bit better, because the ones who have attacked the stumps have been the most successful, Bumrah and Cummins.
Okay, from the Australian bowlers, I'm going to turn our attention towards the Indian bowlers, and Jasprit Bumrah in particular. I mentioned 6 for 33 is what he's got. He's got now a 5 for in all those 3 countries that India played abroad, in South Africa, England, and now in Australia as well. Plenty of people wanting to know, Sanjay, those of some of them who follow you on Twitter, you compared him to a 360-degree batsman. What is exactly that you meant from that?
It's something that VVS also mentioned. For somebody to become such a complete bowler in such a short span of time. When you say complete, what do you mean? He's got pace. He can swing the ball. In England, we saw him bowl the outswinger as well, proper outswinger. He can get the ball back in. He can move the ball in the air off the pitch as well. He can bowl a mean bouncer. He can control a Yorker. He's got the slower ball as well. Today, his first test wicket with a slow ball. So he's got the full range. So that's basically what I mean. So it's incredible that all these skills that you see in IPL and T20s, he's brought it on board in Test match cricket. And his greatest asset is the control over all those variations. And some of our, like Umesh Yadav is a great example where, you know, he lacks control with just 2 or 3 deliveries that he has. Now this guy has got at least 5 or 6 variations, and every variation that he bowls is pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's also someone, Vives, would you say, like, if you were to look at him from the first time, you tell any young bowler, no, don't try and follow Jasprit Bumrah, yet he's so successful, completely unconventional.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell the youngster to follow Jasprit Bumrah as far as the action is concerned, you know, because that's a unique action and biomechanically it's not right. But then every person will have that uniqueness, you know, and I'm glad that the coaches didn't try to alter or change that, because then his strengths, you know, which is unique to him, wouldn't have come forward, you know. But one thing which I will tell the youngsters to follow is the amount of hard work is put in, because there was one doubt in everyone's mind is, will he be able to handle the workload of playing all the 3 formats, especially in test match cricket, you know. But he has shown that he's worked hard, he's become lean, he's become strong, and that's why he's able to bowl all those overs and played all the 3 formats in 2018. Work ethic is something which I would advise the youngster to learn from Jasprit Bumrah. And Sanjay mentioned about control. Now control comes with practice, you know, and it's meaningful practice. You know, we heard stories about him, you know, practicing Yorkers, bowling in a lot of deliveries, along with his role model Malinga during the IPL. So it's all about working on your fitness and working in a meaningful way where you have control over all the variations.
It also
you have.
shows how much technique is overrated.
Yes.
Because he is not as per the coaching book, and he's completely different from what is prescribed by bowling coaches. And look at the kind of result that he's got. So it's all about what he said, fitness. I believe he's got a six-pack.
Now,
Yeah, which he
all of
doesn't
them.
quite.
All of
Only
them.
once I think he showed it on Instagram. Otherwise, it's kept it hidden. So that's another indication that they are putting in the hard yards, and that's why we are seeing such quality seam bowlers. And the other thing that will happen is these guys are inspiring the other youngsters who are about 15 or 16 to bowl quick and be stars like Bumrah.
Very interesting, because we looked at those numbers and his averages in Australia, South Africa and Australia. I'll come to you, VVS, because you've spoken about batsmen. When you judge a batsman when he's batting overseas, you tend to see, okay, is this his first tour abroad? Then he may not be as good. By second tour, you expect them to be good. Look at this man, for bowlers as well. I'm guessing the lines change, the lengths change. He's adjusted so fast. These are first tours there.
Yeah, for a fast bowler, I would see their success more in subcontinent conditions, not so much in overseas conditions, because...
But we've seen Indian bowlers in the past, fast bowlers especially, take time if they've gone to some place like England or even Australia to get used to the condition there.
Maybe, but Jasprit Bumrah's problem has never been, his length or line. He's always had that control. Right from the first time I saw him, he was very accurate. That's a kind of problem if the bowlers are not accurate in hitting the lengths. You see him in bowling in India, you see him bowling England. The lengths won't change. He's someone who hits the good length consistently, and his line also is very accurate. But you require to have a lot more skill if you have to perform as a fast bowler, and that skill can be judged when you play on placid wickets like Adelaide was. Not necessarily like the one in Joburg or at Perth or what we see today at MCG. So the way he bowled and the way he foxed the opposition batsman by having a plan and executing that plan to perfection shows that he's not only a skillful bowler, but he's a very mature bowler.
Thinking bowler.
You've never seen him bowl badly, actually.
Yes.
Do you remember Bumrah bowling badly?
First test match,
First innings, South Africa, when he played his first test and made his debut, he was just getting a little excited. He was spraying the ball all around, and I was a little surprised because control was his greatest strength. Come second innings, he got his radar right. Second test match, 5-wicket haul. So this guy is on a sort of fast track, he's got his third 5-wicket haul, isn't it? The one that he's got. So
he's got it in all these three countries that I was talking about. He's got a fifer in all these three countries, and he's now the second highest wicket taker also in the calendar year 2018. Only Rabada is ahead of him, but if you look at the average, it's pretty much similar. 20 for Rabada, Jasprit Bumrah there with 21. I was just going through a tweet by Mitchell Johnson, and another fast bowler who's an authority on fast bowling, you could say, considering the way he bowled. He is of the opinion it won't be long before Bumrah is the #1 test bowler in the world.
I'm glad he tweeted that, or did he give an interview to someone?
Tweeted
Yeah, I think...
No, I wouldn't quote something that's been said to some
I know you,
publication.
Nikhil. I trust you. No, but having said that, I think he's already the #1. For me, he's already the #1 fast bowler in all the three formats. Not only Test match cricket, because what do you expect?
Then what about Anderson, Rabada, and all? You think they are slightly behind Bumrah at this stage in Test cricket?
I think so. Because again the strike rate shows there. And this is for someone who's playing Test match cricket the first year. When we talk about Anderson, when we talk about Rabada, with experience they know how to bowl in different conditions. But someone creating that kind of impact in the first year, as far as Test match cricket is concerned, is great. The second thing is he's one bowler who the captain always relies in breaking the partnership. We talked about Rabada or Anderson. They are also those kind of bowlers, but for someone to achieve that kind of success in the first year is just phenomenal.
Okay.
Also interesting that he could be one of the big stars to emerge really from IPL and T20 cricket, 50 overs cricket. Even when he was doing all that good work for the Mumbai Indians and 50 overs cricket, all of us thought he was ready to play Test match cricket just by watching his performances in T20 cricket and 50 overs cricket. So he's been an incredible sort of product that has come through a completely different assembly line, and which is also interesting.
Interesting you talk about the IPL. Let me put that question to Brad, who's been associated with the IPL, played at the IPL, was the coach. You must have seen Jasprit Bumrah. I don't know if you ever played him while you were playing in the IPL, but as a coach, you definitely must have come across him. Did you ever expect him to be so successful in the longer format after some good performances in the IPL?
Yeah, I did actually, and I think I concur with what VVS said. It's all down to fitness, training techniques, and attitude, and I think Jasprit Bumrah certainly got that. I did face him, and to me, he was exactly like Lasith Malinga, the greatest executioner of Yorkers in T20 cricket, a great slower ball, good bumper, and generally knows where they're going. So, no, it's not a surprise at all. He's a fantastic bowler.
One over which Brad Hodge will never ever forget. As a coach of Gujarat Lions, there was a super over and Brendan McCullum and I think Dwayne Smith were on strike, and he didn't allow them to hit any boundaries or any sixes. I think Brad Hodge will never ever forget that super over from Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah, Brad?
Yeah, I actually don't think one ball hit the bat. So
Yeah.
in 6 balls.
Unbelievable.
I remember it clearly. We got 2 runs, and I think they were both wides, I think, or a bye. One ball didn't hit the middle of the bat, or it didn't hit the willow, which is incredible for those 2 players not to hit the ball.
Okay, I remember one over from Jasprit Bumrah, just this IPL that's gone by, to Virat Kohli. Virat, who's like a superstar in IPL, just couldn't figure Jasprit Bumrah out. 2 overs he bowled to Virat Kohli, and it's the most uncomfortable I've seen Virat. Okay, I'm going to take one comment because Sanjay mentioned about his 6-pack, and we've got Hitesh Kumar Meena on YouTube say that with his 6-pack, with him doing so well, why doesn't he get an ad like the other batting superstars tend to get? He's got the physique for it. He's bowling really well. It's a batsman's game.
Yes, it's stardom is something that you can't explain. Some people have it, some don't. So my theory is that you can become a very good player, you can even become a great batsman, but to become a star is beyond your control. It's just something that you've got to be. Shah Rukh Khan is a star, whereas Nasiruddin Shah is not quite the same brand star. So Bumrah may be like that. Ajinkya Rahane will never be a star like Virat Kohli. It's, I think, how you carry yourself on the
Personality.
field.
Okay, maybe boils down to that. Now image managers actually are there to get that sorted as well. Okay, plenty more questions coming in from Facebook. This one we've got Vivek Pratap. Why Cummins and Bumrah are unplayable on this track? Okay.
Very good question, and this is really appreciate Vivek thinking like this, because when we discussed on the first day, we mentioned clearly that Pat Cummins right from the first over created an impact compared to Hazelwood and Mitchell Starc. The reason for that is hit the deck bowler. They hit the deck hard and at a length where the ball can generate pace, also awkward bounce. And we also mentioned that from Indian team's point of view, it will be Bumrah or Ishant Sharma, because both of them are very similar to Pat Cummins. I think it's just the length and how hard they hit the deck is the reason of them being effective on this wicket. Because this wicket, while it's slow in nature, but there is uneven bounce, and a lot of deliveries are keeping
Do you want to
low.
explain to the viewers about when you say hitting the pitch hard?
Yeah, how they
what
release the ball.
exactly-
In fact, we discussed even this
yeah.
morning when Ishant Sharma and even Bumrah for that matter, when they're releasing the ball, it's all about the wrist position. When the wrist is upright, you know that the ball will be floating in the air and will be easy to drive. But when the wrist position is almost inclined, it hits the
Ishant
deck.
Sharma,
Ishant Sharma and also Bumrah or Pat Cummins. And that's the reason why they get a lot of pace off the wicket. And the ball generally keeps low on a track like this, but on a good track like Perth, they extract extra bounce from the length, which becomes very difficult for the batsman to
Did
play.
you study physics? Because one of the
As a
laws-
batsman, we studied physics. Cricket is a lot about
Yeah,
physics, in
because I
fact.
think the more what force you put in, an equal something comes back. And
Yeah.
I remember one kind of principle of physics. So I guess that is it. Put more into it, more you get out of it.
Hit the deck ball. Okay,
Yeah.
wrist position as VVS says. Okay, I'm turning my attention now to the Hanuma Vihari experiment, as we're calling it on our rundown.
And you
I'm
got the
going-
right person next to me to answer that.
But I'll go.
Who advocated that?
Before I come to the fiery debate, I go across to
No fiery debate.
to Brad. Brad, let's talk about Hanuma Vihari. Do you think there was a plan in there? I mean, after what they saw of him in the first innings, the Australian bowlers, this time too, peppered him with the short pitch deliveries, eventually getting that wicket?
Yeah, definitely, and I think I'll probably agree with Sanjay that the experiment probably hasn't worked, because I reckon that's what he's going to say. So
No, he's not going to say that. Anyway, carry on.
I like to listen to him, see what he's got to say first. But yeah, I think that he was always going to find it tough open the batting against those level of quicks, and he's been found out getting caught off short pitch bowling, and as an opener, that's probably not ideal.
This is what you get in international cricket. I mean, not only international cricket, in any form of cricket, the present day, there's so much of data available, the word of mouth, how it spreads quickly and rapidly. And the way Vihari got out in the first innings, it's very clear that wherever he will play, even in first class cricket or whichever position he plays, the initial deliveries will be short pitch deliveries.
So that answers my question, whichever position he plays as well.
No wonder he said there'll be no debate because he's on your side.
And the other thing is also...
I'm not on his side.
No, he was against that move, but my logic was that at number 6, I didn't see Vihari having the game that would make him a sort of a permanent member of the side. You need to have a slightly more attacking, street smart kind of game to back with the tail enders, which happens very often. So more like a Rohit Sharma. VVS batted a lot, number 5 and 6. Batted superbly with tail enders. So I felt that he didn't have the game. So I don't think he would have blossomed as much at number 6. So his great chance of cementing a place for himself, because there's such a dearth of top order batsmen, is having him open at number 1 and 2. Having said that, there's been a contribution that Vihari has made if India goes on to win this test match. That is where I've become a very good lawyer as well. Now, when you look at the match summary, you will see why is India in front, because they batted horribly in the second, is in the first innings. And what happened in the first inning was day 1, the way India batted, and the first wicket that fell on day 1 was on the score of 40, thanks to Hanuma Vihari.
Okay, but just...
he was there till
the number of balls he played.
Yes. Whereas with others, Shikhar Dhawan and all the other openers that we had, Rahul, Murli Vijay, I don't think we got 30 or even 25-30 runs. The only time we got those runs in England was Southampton. Sorry, the one we won at Nottingham, where on both occasions there was an opening stand of some contribution, some runs. India went on to win the match.
But why do you think that he wouldn't have made a good number 6? Because after Perth, he came in for very high praise from all quarters.
Yes, it's a perception that as a cricketer I get. And that is one problem that I would have with people who haven't played the game, where they'll be expecting number, throwing things at me. But when you look at a player, like a selector gets a vibe and a feel, whether he's cut out to be a long-term number 6 option for India. When I look at the game, I didn't think so. And having watched him at the top of the order, I think what's missing with him, he's got a pretty organized technique, is maybe the X factor, which is again a knack of getting runs or finding ways to survive. Maybe he's a little too pure, who's just looking to defend and hoping for the best. Plus the short ball problem is not going to help. So there you go.
Okay, but the praise that came his way in Perth was not basically looking at numbers, because
I think I actually I've got a different viewpoint on this, and I feel that he's got the game to bat anywhere in the batting lineup. Not to say that he can't be successful as an opener. We saw that the way he played in the first innings. Yes, he got out to a good delivery and he came, got into a bad position. But till the time he got out, he looked comfortable. Full face of the bat.
Would you open with them in the final test?
I mean, there's no alternative now, because Prithvi's gone back, and the 2 openers who are there in the squad, you've passed on a clear message that we don't trust you anymore. And that's what we mentioned even on the first day, that the message was very loud and clear to both Murli Vijay and KL Rahul that you're no longer going to be part of this test series. But coming back to Vihari, it's very unfortunate and unfair for a youngster to bat in a position which is not familiar with. When you have experienced player like Murli Vijay was showing signs in the second innings of Perth, and also when you have selected someone as a genuine opener. Now coming to the point at number 6, I think it's overrated, overly rated, where people expect the number 6 batsman to have the free flowing or the power hitting. And I'm a prime example and never ever had
Not
a power
rating. But what I mean is a certain amount of street smartness and knack,
which he has,
of defending 4 balls and then scoring of the last 5 or finding a gap. Little more of a range of
which probably we didn't get an opportunity to see with Vihari. But what we've seen is the grit, the determination at Oval. Because someone, again, very similar to Mayank Agarwal, suddenly drafted in the Indian team. Karun Nair, part of the squad, but he got to play ahead of Karun Nair, and he was not overawed. He got a half century, he got 3 wickets. And again in Perth, when all the other experienced batsmen were struggling, the way he came in position, just like the way we spoke about Mayank Agarwal. So he's got the temperament and he's got the skill and the technique to survive at international
and that was
cricket.
the reason when I suggested Vihari as an opening option, is because of the kind of form that we saw with the openers. but I had Murli Vijay and
Yeah.
Bihari opening for the last
Right.
test match. They went for Mayank Agarwal. It's a move that has worked, but I wanted a Murli Vijay who showed some promise, as I said, in the second inning when he got 20.
Okay, in fact, he was also of the opinion to have Murli Vijay open. Okay, we've got a question now, and I'm going to throw that question to Brad Hodge, lest he feels that he's completely been left out of the discussion. Samir Keshavan, and he's addressed it to Brad, saying, should India have been aggressive in their approach in the second innings? For example, either more attacking shots or sending in Kohli or Rohit at the fall of the first wicket. Okay, Brad?
Well, it doesn't matter because Pujara got a duck and it didn't really matter anyway. So
Typical Australian commonsensical approach to cricket.
Yeah. Would you want take
no.
that question? Yeah? No, he.
Yeah.
Are you
Go
done,
ahead.
Brad?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think you got to trust your batsmen to do the job, and I think that India know that they got plenty of runs. They got more than enough. So I think it's a matter of going out. I thought that sending the two openers out there to an opportunity just to play with complete freedom was a good one, and Pujara and Virat also need that fun and enjoyment of going out there when your team's in a good position and just pushing forward. So as a batsman, I don't think you like to change the order too much. There's only probably 10% of the game throughout a year where you want to do that, and there's no need at all. So they're in a good position, strong position. Just go and execute your job.
Okay, we've got another question now. This one is on short pitch bowling coming from Facebook, and we'll throw that question to either Sanjay or VVS, whoever wants to take that. Looks like short quick balls have been a problem for batsmen from both the teams. How can a batsman approach those balls without any trouble?
Yeah, Hanuma Vihari is a concern. We saw Pujara getting hit as well, but he'll battle that out. So it's not a problem for him, which will cost him his wicket. Ajinkya Rahane doesn't play the short ball too well. Virat plays it well. Rohit Sharma doesn't, mind the short ball too much. My answer to that question is, since the helmets have come in, batsmen are not wary of the hard cricket ball. Pre-helmet era, anything that was short, the batsman would just rock back close to the stumps, giving themselves more time. Now, when you see batsmen getting hit, in fact, Mayank Agarwal in the first innings also, when they get hit, both their legs are outside the front crease while playing a short ball. So that's one of the reasons why they're not playing the short ball too well, because they're just on the up front foot. The old gospel of batting was when the ball was short, go back and give yourself time, duck or weave or whatever. Now everything is sort of everybody's keen to get onto the front foot, not afraid of getting hit, helmets are on, and that is contributing to, batsmen having problems with short ball.
Okay, talking about the problem that batsmen are having with short ball, it's been a problem with both the Indian batsmen as well as the Australian batsmen. In fact, we'll talk about the Australian inning. It's right at the end of our rundown. I mean, Brad, this is something we discussed in the Tea Time show as well. They are really having trouble as far as staying on the crease. I'm just looking at some numbers in terms of minutes spent. It's 285 minutes for the entire Australian batting. That's less than what someone like a Kohli or Pujara has been spending time on the crease. Do you think that's staying on, digging their heels in, that is something that the Australian batsmen really need to do rather than playing their strokes?
Well, there's not a lot of positives to say about the Australian batting. They're not great at all, and I think they've just not allowed. Their techniques have been challenged, and maybe they're actually not good enough at the moment at test levels. But they've seen recipe in Pujara showing them from the first test how to go about compiling innings in test match cricket. The recipe they've seen, they just can't get the ingredients together to do it. So it's a frustration from us to watch, but I just feel that someone's got to just dig in and grab the bull by the horns and show the rest of the team what it's all about. So far, it just hasn't happened. Just too many shots, poor choices, and poor execution.
Yeah, Brad, just a quick question. Temperamentally, how would you rate the Australian batting? Temperamentally, the guys with character, how would you rate them? Who would be the one who would show ample character and others who are temperamentally not that sound or strong?
Well, I think I've seen some good moves from Tim Payne while he's been out of the crease. He's probably the one which has actually looked the most comfortable technically, even though he's batting at 7. But his leadership has been good. Marcus Harris is just a young kid and learning his way at Test match cricket. But we really needed more out of Usman Khawaja and Sean Marsh, and unfortunately they haven't really fired much, especially in this particular game. We're let down again where we're getting average performances, and it's unfortunate because if you actually look at their records, they're not at the highest level. They're not of a Virat Kohli standard, Steve Smith standard, or David Warner standard. They're a lot lower than that. We're probably seeing how vulnerable they are at Test match level. So they need to find a way. They need to find a recipe of how to succeed. But right now, it doesn't look like they understand what that recipe is against, mind you, an outstanding Indian bowling attack.
I was tempted to ask another question on Mitchell Marsh, but the producer tells me no, time is up, and then Sanjay will take another show to talk about Mitchell. Okay, so I'll take one final question that's coming up.
Mitchell Marsh.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll take one final question. Okay, this one is from YouTube. Prithviraj, when do you think would be the right time to declare tomorrow, considering the rain threat? VVS.
I think I'll give 400 runs for Australia. That would be my target. So the moment you reach a lead of 400, that's when you declare and try to bowl Australia out. And I have a prediction that the match will be over tomorrow.
Okay.
I concur.
Concur. Okay, 400. 400 is something that you can look forward to. Okay, I believe don't have Brad Hodge with us anymore. Okay, we'll continue with the discussion. Okay, now to a special segment, and this is called Selection Day. Remember, this is a new series on Netflix, premieres on the 28th of December. So watch out for that. And I've got a few questions for our experts on that. I'll start with you, Sanjay. How did you choose to become a cricketer? I mean, was there any parental pressure, peer pressure for you too? I mean, for you,
My father,
I know,
was a cricketer, so there was that kind of atmosphere. I grew up around people coming to our homes, cricketers visiting. Plus, I lived in a place called Dadar, Shivaji Park, where cricket was the only sport, so you had no choice but to play it. And I loved it, and I wanted to be famous, to be well known. That I found that as my bus to success. So pursued it with the ambition of playing for India. So I didn't play cricket for fun. From the age of 10, my ambition was to play for India, and that's how it all happened.
I remember reading your book. You weren't a big cricket fan to begin with. I mean, you'd go at cricket matches, but not really watch the cricket.
But that's an actual cricketer in the making. Somebody who doesn't like to watch. I never listened to commentary and stuff. Never watched too much cricket. I like to actually play cricket. So while my father would be there playing cricket, I would be playing cricket of my own and not really watching him. So that would bore me.
All right, but now you do that for a living. Watch cricket and comment on it.
Now the true love for the game has come. Okay. Despite me not getting paid and all, I still turn up and watch the game and be in the elite company.
If I got paid half as much as you do, I'd retire 10 years ago. VVS?
For me, I think everyone knows my story. Coming from a background of doctors. 1983, when Kapil Paji lifted that World Cup at Lord's, that's when I got inspired and I wanted to one day represent the country. But it was a tough decision for the entire family. I was lucky that my uncle was my mentor, spotted the talent in me, but I always wanted to be a doctor as well. Playing cricket for the country was the wildest dream I had. But at the age of 17, as we all in India have to take a call, it's changed now because I'm talking about early 1990s, where cricket was an amateur sport. Only if you play for the country, you can make a living out of it. And even if you play first class cricket, you will struggle. You can get probably a job in a central government or a state or a bank. So I think the decision was very, very tough. And I full credit to my parents for giving me the freedom to choose whatever I wanted to do.
What age did the big leap come when you felt, okay, this is a path that I can choose?
I think at 17, my parents gave me 5 years. And in those 5 years, if I went on to realize my dream of playing for the country, I would continue with the game. Even if I would be a successful first-class cricketer, not played for the country at the age of 22, I had to leave the game, come back, appear for the entrance exam and pursue my goal of becoming a doctor.
So that was a serious deal done actually when that would have happened.
Yeah, at the age of 17. And those 5 years was turning point in my career. The personality, the character of mine was built in those 5 years, most memorable years of my life. But not once did my parents put pressure on me as far as the results were concerned or the performance was concerned. All they were looking forward was whether I was working hard to become a better cricketer with each and every passing day. And so there was no parental pressure, but I feel the importance of a mentor, a guide is very important. I had that in the form of my uncle and then in the form of my childhood coaches.
Okay. Tell them also the importance of having a great roommate in your very first test match when you start off your test
by that time you'd become a cricketer.
How important
by that time you'd become an international cricketer. We just were interested in his journey, how he became an international cricketer. We'll keep that story for another day. Brad, we'd love to know your story. I know backyard cricket is, part of the Australian culture. For you, did it start from there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you did. I was in the backyard thinking I was going to grow up to be Dennis Lilly, but unfortunately I'm only 5'6.5", so I had to quickly turn into Alan Border. So that was my childhood dreams.
Well, why are you laughing?
Is it because that, Brad, you didn't become tall that you left the idea of becoming a Dennis Lilly and focus on batting?
Absolutely, VBS. Yeah, I don't know too many 5'6" fast, quick bowlers that have been successful.
Yeah.
You generally got to be tall. So, got too hard trying to bowl 150 kilometers an hour. So I thought batting would be a lot easier.
Okay, but Brad, I know that in Australia the number one sport there is Aussie rules. I'm sure you played Aussie rules too. How did you then choose cricket over Aussie rules?
Well, it's different, very much so. Cricket is a summer sport and AFL is a winter sport. So back in the old days, you used to just sort of roll in. There's a lot of cricket players played AFL, not only for skill but for fitness as well. So that was generally the way it worked. You play footy and then you go into cricket season. Now it's a little bit different. They cross over, but you probably have to choose a little bit earlier. But that's just basically the way it rolled.
Okay, now is the tougher question. How do you deal now with your children and them choosing their career path? Do you have a say? Do you put pressure?
You know how the today's generation is. You can't tell them anything. You just have to sort of obey what their wishes and approach. You've got to support that because it's not a generation where you say that I want you to become this. Won't happen.
Last time I remember your daughter blocked you from Twitter at
Yeah, she does that. Because when she tweets
Really?
and I see the time at what she's tweeted, I quickly send her a message saying that, you should be in bed at this time. So she has blocked me twice.
Okay.
I think, I got that freedom from my parents, when cricket was not a professional career to choose, so it would be the same for me. What my parents did to me, I would do the same to my kids, just allow them to experiment, experience and do whatever they enjoy doing. Important thing is they have to enjoy whatever they're doing.
Even if you try, they won't do it, because this generation is amazing.
Yeah.
They could be the brightest kids academically, but if they want to do something in fine art, they'll go and do that. Like my daughter is a chef. Despite her, scoring 90% and over in 10th, she wanted to become a chef. A lot of them are taking up, music.
Which is good.
Yeah,
excellent.
Mass media, journalism, despite, getting a high score. So the creative industry will have a lot of very intelligent people actually working for them in the next 10, 15 years. So maybe we work for the wrong producers or whatever.
Okay. I think that's the last question he'd want me to throw to Sanjay, the producer. Okay, but you spoke about your kids. There's interest in cricket there, at least. I mean, you're not going to decide what they do, but is there?
Yeah, both of them are sporty. So my daughter is in dance, music. She plays tennis, badminton. My son plays football, cricket, kabaddi, tennis, and both of them love swimming.
They're very sweet. They're very lovable kids.
So I think the responsibility of the parents is to give them opportunities in whatever they want to do, and then it's up to them what they love.
All right, Brad, we'd love to hear from you. Would your kids grow up to become cricketers?
Well, yeah, both kids play cricket. So my daughter Sophie, who's 9, she plays a thing called Woolworths T20 Blast. So she loves it. My son plays junior cricket under 14s for East Sandringham. They also play a range of sports. Play tennis, both play competitive tennis, gymnastics, that sort of thing. And they'll choose whichever sport they want. For here, especially in Australia, we've got lots of facilities and lots of encouragement to represent any sport you want to play in. So for me, it's more about enjoyment. And if you're enjoying the sport, then that's all I can ask.
All right, if all of you are watching us or have just joined are wondering why we're talking about cricketers and their kids and what they're going to do, is because a new series called Selection Day is premiering on Netflix. And here's a sneak peek for you, and this features none other than Sachin Tendulkar.
Fashion designing is just a hobby. तुम्हें तो डॉक्टर बनना है.
अगले ऑडिशन में सिलेक्ट होना ही है. इंडिया का सुपरस्टार बनना ही है.
बेटा, तुम्हें साइंस पढ़ने के लिए नहीं, क्रिकेटर बनने के लिए पैदा किया है.
It's not your dream if the voice in your head isn't yours. You have to choose who you become.
माफ करना भगवान, मुझे तो क्रिकेट पसंद भी नहीं है.
सोचने के लिए नहीं पैदा किया था मैंने तुम्हें.
So watch out for Selection Day, that's premiering on Netflix based on Arvind Adiga's novel. Remember, he's the same writer who wrote that famous book called White Tiger. Okay, finally, this is now time. We've judged all the players on the field. It's time to judge our experts in VVS Laxman and Brad Hodge. Let's see how they've performed in the segment that we call Fab 4. It was a slight lead for Brad Hodge to begin with, but let's see how VVS Laxman has done at the end of day 3 of the Melbourne Test match. He's there with a total of 221 points. That's 50 less than the magical score of 281. Who knows, he might just get there. Okay, let's quickly take a look at how Brad has done. Remember, he was leading up until tea time, but is he still in the lead? Well, Brad is there with 223. Okay, the points coming there from Khwaja, Finch, Harris, but Jasprit Bumrah, 120 plus 20 points there. He's got, for what that is, he's taken for a fifer.
Wicket,
he gets 20 points for that as well. Usman Khwaja, if you're wondering how he got those points, that was for the 2 catches that he took, so you get points there as well. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the leaderboard. We already mentioned to you that it is still Brad Hodge in the lead with a total of 556 points, but 512 for VVS Laxman. Still, at least minimum, will have a day to go, and so plenty of time there for you to catch up quickly. Your predictions now, 4 players that you're going to pick.
Okay. Pat Cummins.
Can I ask you to wait? Maybe Sanjay can give some tips. He's not participating.
No, I can see that the producer is taking his
Ever
vengeance
since
I taunted him. You said we've got our experts, and it's Brad Hodge and VVS Laxman. So
give him a tip at least. Be nice to him. You may not
What
be
tip?
nice to the producer. Say, give him a
VVS
tip or two.
Laxman doesn't agree with most things that I have to say, so let him pick his own.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Pat Cummins,
Okay.
Ravindra Jadeja, Bumrah, and Shami.
Okay, so gone with 3 Indian bowlers. In fact, all 4 bowlers. There should have been a rule. Usually in fantasy league, you can't pick all bowlers or batsmen. Maybe there could have been a rule. Okay, Brad, for you.
Yeah, I'll pick. How many can we pick for? I'll pick Jadeja, Shami, Bumrah, and Marcus Harris.
Oh, okay. At least he's picked 1 batsman, but looking at his picks as well, it's looking like an India victory there at Melbourne based on the 2 picks by VVS Laxman and Brad Hodge. Okay, finally, what are you expecting? The producer has been kind enough to allow the final word to Sanjay Manjrekar.
That's the beauty of Sanjay. He puts pressure on them.
These are all the
forcing
games
them
that
to
you learn. Yeah. Oh, but he's asking me a question just as an individual, not as an expert. So,
I'm
the
asking
real
as
question you can ask him.
I'll use a better word for you. Analyst.
Analyst. Yeah.
As an
Do I
analyst.
like it? Okay.
Okay, as an
What's the
analyst,
question?
yes. Looking forward, day 4, what are you expecting?
I mean, India's game to win. India will bowl well. Even if they get 30-40 runs, seems like it's more than enough. 4 class bowlers, 4 capable of taking wickets. So India in the driver's seat here.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Sanjay Manjrekar, VVS Laxman and Brad Hodge, thanks so much for joining us. You are watching Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, but we'll leave you with our very, very special segment. It's called Undiscover Australia, brought to you by Tourism Australia. This time, Shibani Dandekar is checking out Phillip Islands, where there is a penguin parade.
I'm off to see the largest Australian fur seal colony at Seal Rocks near Phillip Island.
So in this Pacific area, we say we've got about 30,000 Australian fur seals. On the island at any time, there's usually between 8 to 12,000.
Wow.
So,
And this boat can get closer to them than any other. Amazing. I love that. They're quite harmless though, aren't they?
yeah, everyone's sort of drawn towards the penguins. But yeah, this is amazing. This is nature in action, and it's fantastic.
You can see both if you're here, can't you?
Well, exactly.
What is the proximity of the penguins and the seals? They're not really that close to each other, are they?
Yeah, so penguins, we've seen penguins here on the island before. We sometimes see seals around where the penguins are coming in as well. So they do share these waters.
So they're friends?
I don't know if they're friends, but they certainly don't harm each other.
Right, they stay out of each other's way.
Yeah, yep.
It's just the way we need to coexist in this world.
Exactly. Penguins and seals can do it socially.
All right.
As the sun sets, we got to see the smallest penguins in the world parade back to their homes after a long day at sea.
So where we are here tonight, the penguins will basically, at the moment, they'll be gathering out there about maybe 800 metres, 600 metres, and then they'll come up through this area here. Near the rocks, especially the ones coming up early, maybe it helps them hide in the rocks away from the predators. Sometimes on the beach here there can be Pacific gulls, which are a predator. There can also be sea eagles and things like that. So very soon the penguins will come in and there'll be a certain time when we turn the lights on. It's an LED light and there's a filter across the light. So it becomes an amber colour so that the penguins aren't affected by it. So we're trying to make it as comfortable as possible for them to come in so that they're not affected, so they still feel like they're in a wild situation. The idea is to not stress them and make them anxious here. We want them to be happy and doing their thing, yeah. We're guests here, basically.
There's a really big group coming in now, and if you look to the left, you can see at least, I want to say about 40, 50 of them about to come right past us. So cute.
How cute are these little penguins? Tomorrow we head to the hills for an outdoor organic lunch at Green Olive.